My name is Ellie Bailey. I am the executive producer at Man vs. Machine. Um, I'm very excited to be here at the tail end of what has been a pretty exceptional event, kicking off nearly 24 hours ago in Sydney, I believe. So thanks to everyone who is joining me tonight. As I said before, I'm with Man vs. Machine. We are a design and direction studio founded in London in 2007, and we opened our LA office about 5 years ago. And I'm currently somewhere in between, sheltering in my hometown of Sun Valley, Idaho, for the foreseeable future. And today I wanted to talk to you all about what I call transformative motion design. Necessity and invention, because we are in a particular moment where we all have to invent new ways of dealing with commercial and practical realities, which is something that at Man vs. Machine we're pretty accustomed to doing. So I'm going to pop on this PowerPoint. And I called this talk Transformative Motion Design, Necessity and Invention, because doing the kind of work that we do, and I'm going to share with you my experience through the prism of the sort of work that we do over the duration of this talk, we often have to change the way that we look at things or change the way that we execute our ideas based on trends. And in this current bizarre reality, we're having to change the way that we do things, the way that we execute our concepts, not just based on trends and commercial realities, but also practical and logistical realities, which I think is hugely important. So at Man vs. Machine, our entire ethos is founded kind of on 4 principles. We like to create work that blurs the boundaries between reality and fiction. So we love to do things in CG that people look and are a little bit taken aback and wonder, how did they do that? Is that real? Was that shot in camera? Is it CG? You know, where did that come from? How was it done? We also pride ourselves on generating communications that toe the line between premium and playful, because it's all well and good to be at the absolute high end of the market, but if you don't have a sense of whimsy, if you don't have a sense of humanity, then really, what good is it? So we like to add that kind of playful, ludic, human aspect of things into our work whenever we can. And that makes it more fun for us as well. And this allows us to then obviously garner attention in a crowded media landscape, because if people can look up at a screen or an image and be a little bit wowed by it and taken back to a sense of awe, then that's how you can really garner attention when everybody else is sort of fighting for that same sensation of wonder. And finally, from our perspective, design is absolutely everything. If there isn't that throughput of design rigor, of design point of view, then it isn't necessarily going to be ticking our boxes, and it isn't necessarily going to be something that stands the test of time. So that's something that is incredibly important to us. So this evening I want to talk to you about these sort of principles and how we actually pivot when it comes to execution, as I said, through the prism of some recent work. So I am now going to share a film with you that we recently produced for Bang & Olufsen. I'll play this now. This came out, I believe, about a year ago. And this is a compilation of a number of different films that we produced for them, because they had an entire product line. So this is kind of a master edit that shows a little bit of everything. with that film, the entire thing was done in CG. So every product that you saw there was not shot in camera. That was all built off of the engineering CAD models that they use in the manufacturing process when they're building out the actual Bang & Olufsen products. And of course, it's product-based communications. The product has to look good. It has to be haptic. It has to be extremely real. So even though the films are pure CG, the product is grounded there, but kind of living in a more abstract, emotional, surreal landscape. And when we do something like that, we're communicating product benefits with visual metaphors and kind of devising a language that allows us to speak to the intangible benefits of the experience of that product. So that's just an example of something that we've done purely in CG, but we could have equally done a product shoot in live action that communicates the same principles and ticks the same man-machine boxes. And to show you an example of something on the other end of the spectrum, this is a piece that we produced for Away Travel, and it was done purely in camera, so completely the opposite, no CG at all. So I'll play that piece for you now.
This is the Away Travel uniform. It's a collection of suitcases and bags that work together, thoughtfully designed to make travel easier. See this bag? You can attach it to your suitcase like this. You can mix and match and even personalize them. This is the Away Travel uniform. And this is how you build yours. Start your 100-day trial today at awaytravel.com.
So again, that's on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. That was entirely done without CG, purely in camera. And that was due to a logistical reality that we faced, which was we got the brief on like December the 1st, and the work had to be live in January. So there was no way that we could do our usual CG process, which takes a little bit longer, and still hit the client's deadline. So in that case, it was finding a way to get our same design ethos and our same sense of whimsy and our same sense of kind of incredulity and, oh, this is quite striking and beautiful across, without building everything from scratch. So when we have to pivot to live action, we want everything still to be design-led, and we plan every shot, we plan every camera angle, we plan every lighting rig. We do that all in previs and CG anyway, so that then when we get to the day of shooting, or the days of shooting in that case, there are no surprises, and we know exactly what we need to do in order to get our design perspective across. So the creative concept and the design POV is still completely there, and it doesn't really matter how we execute. The final piece that I want to share with you is something somewhere in the middle, where we shot live action but also included a lot of VFX, and this is our latest work for Squarespace, which only launched this March, before the world changed. So as you can see there, we're dealing with a merging of these two worlds, something shot, but with obviously a lot of CG added in to add that level of wonder, add that level of design perspective. The product with Squarespace isn't a physical product, it's a platform. And so what we are seeking to achieve there is an emotional, visceral metaphor that can communicate what the outcomes are of the service or platform for the creative entrepreneur. How does it unlock your creativity? How does it share that creativity with the world? So we worked really closely with Squarespace customers to devise the language of the product benefits and build out those metaphors and bring them to life. We did use a VFX pipeline, i.e. we shot stuff live action, and then over the live action plates we were putting CG animation merge those two worlds. But this kind of visceral beauty result is achievable regardless of the methodology, which I suppose is the entire point of my talk today. We often say at Man vs. Machine that, we are designers, we are directors, and we are visual explorers. So we're execution agnostic. Our design point of view, our creative concept, once we come up with it, we can have a version that we might be able to do in pure CG. We can have a version that we might be able to do in pure live action. We could have a version that is achievable with VFX. And sometimes we pivot due to trends, sometimes due to commercial or logistical realities. So in the current environment, what we're finding is that people aren't able to shoot live action. And so they're coming to us and saying, we normally would just use a live action pipeline for this. How can we do something in CG? And we say, well, if the idea is strong, if the concept is there, if the design perspective is there, then it actually doesn't matter. We build everything that we do in CG from almost a live action perspective in terms of how we want the product to look and feel and the emotive human point of view that we want to insert. And everything that we do in live action, we have a very rigorous design aesthetic, and we plan everything, incredibly minutely down to the final detail. So we're kind of able to move back and forth between the two worlds. And as long as that central concept is there, then it actually doesn't really matter to us. We can solve for CG, we can solve for live action, we can solve for VFX against any conceptual equation. And that, I think, is what allows us to maintain relevance in a kind of weird floating world that we find ourselves in now.